Red flag laws, extreme risk protection orders, are said to be created by politicians to keep people safe, to keep guns out of the hands of bad people. But gun regulations never have and never will work like that. What they will do is create criminals out of innocent people who will lose their freedoms and, in many cases, as we've already seen, will die for simply exercising their rights. Here's an example of what'll happen. It's Sunday night and your family's all gone to bed. You let the dogs back in and lock the deadbolt like you do every night. All the lights are off now except a couple night lights scattered throughout the house, leaving that dim glow throughout your home. It's bedtime and work and school are going to come early in the morning. You crawl in bed, kiss your wife, and drift off to sleep, being thankful for the air conditioning that allows you to pull that heavy quilt over your shoulder despite the fact that it's still 85 degrees outside. A few hours pass. It's 2 o'clock on Monday morning and your wife taps your leg and says, "Babe, I heard something outside." As you sit up in bed, you hear the dog growling in the living room and you know something's not right. You grab that trusty old AR-15 and head into the living room. Your wife grabs her Springfield XDM and heads down the hall to the kids' room, just like you guys rehearsed many times before. "Good boy," you say as you enter the living room, trying to calm both the dog and your wife. At that moment, splinters shatter across the room and the front door flies open. Holy crap! You quickly shoulder your weapon and send a couple .223 rounds screaming across your living room and see the perpetrator fall into a heap. Before the "thank God" can even cross your brain, you see a second man coming in the door and you fire again. This time you hear the pop of your wife's Springfield, realizing she just joined the fight. Has to be those damn meth heads down the street. Just then, you're consumed by a wall of bullets as you see multiple muzzles flash from just outside the door and you realize something's not right. You turn to tell your wife to get down just in time to see her take a load of buckshot to the face and her brains splatter the wall behind her. You feel the burning as 5.56 bullets riddle your body. One clips your spine as you're scrambling away and paralyzes your legs. The last thing you see before you bleed out is a SWAT guy from your local police department holding your teenage daughter on the floor with a knee in her back as she screams and cries because she just watched her parents being murdered. Why'd this happen? You're not a criminal. You're an honest family man. Your wife has a successful home business and your homeschooled daughter aspires to be a doctor. Why the hell did this happen? 2 days ago, you and your wife went down to welcome the new neighbors to the community. Your wife made them some of her world-famous cookies and you invited them to a picnic with some friends on Sunday. Later that afternoon, you got a friend request on Facebook from your new neighbor, which you gladly accepted. They seemed a little strange, but in the few minutes you talked with them, they were pleasant enough. The next day, while you and your family were at the picnic with some other friends, your new neighbor scrolled through your Facebook profile. He saw that you have some serious problems with the government's attack on our freedoms. He saw that you don't believe anybody, including agents of government, has a higher claim over your life and property than you. He read on one of your posts where you proved that politics is nothing more and nothing less than the clever and deceptive art of using euphemisms, lies, emotionalism, and fear-mongering in order to dupe average people into accepting and even demanding the chains of their own enslavement. And he got pretty offended. Really offended. See, he's a staunch liberal authoritarian and he hates your kind. He believes government is the answer to society's problem. The next thing he sees on your profile are the hunting pictures you took last fall when your daughter bagged her first buck. Now he's seething with fury because he's wholeheartedly against what he calls the senseless slaughter of innocent animals. Next, he sees your post from the last range day with your buddy and sees those scary black AR-15 assault-style rifles on the table, and that does it. That sends him over the edge. He's fully triggered now. He has to do something about that racist domestic terrorist living next door. He picks up the phone and calls the local sheriff's office and reports you as a threat to yourself and others under the new red flag law. The cops blindly follow their standard operating procedures and conduct a no-knock warrant because you've now been denied due process and you're considered guilty until proven innocent. Now, you Your lovely wife and 2 deputies have been killed because politicians have made you out to be a criminal by their laws when you're nothing of the sort. Your daughter's life just took a sudden and dramatic turn for the worse. The hurdles she'll now face without the wisdom and guidance of her loving parents, and the mental anguish she's going to have to go through from seeing her parents murdered, is going to set her up for some serious, unnecessary problems. The local and national news will report that you were killed after firing on and killing 2 deputies, and that, quote, over 1,000 rounds of ammunition and 22 guns were confiscated from the white supremacist residence. Oh, and those 2 deputies who turned their minds off, suspended their conscience, violated their oath, and broke into your house, well, they'll be glorified in mainstream media for giving their lives to protect society from yet another domestic terror threat. They'll be glorified in death and even worshipped as flags fly at half-staff. The whole town will show up to see the caskets of the cops going down the road, and everyone will be waving an American flag as the 2 heroes are sent off to their final resting place. Plaques will be hung for the 2 fallen brave as a memorial. All the while, you and your wife are quietly buried among friends and family, to be forgotten by the town and even demonized as conspiratorial, gun-loving white supremacist nut jobs. The townspeople will give away even more of their freedoms to the politicians and submit themselves to even more laws as the police state advances against them. Please, take a little more of our liberties, they'll say, and give us security. Red flag laws are gun confiscation orders. They are a direct violation of shall not be infringed. Regulation leads to confiscation, and confiscation leads to the termination of a society that was just too stupid to realize that giving away liberty invites the most devastating tyranny. And if you love wealth and security greater than liberty, the tranquility of servitude rather than the animating contest for freedom, go home from us in peace. We ask not your counsel nor your arms. Crouch down and lick the hands that feed you. May your chains set lightly upon you, and may posterity forget that you were our countrymen.
So what happened?
Okay, so our officers responded out to 103 Linwood Avenue about 5:17 this morning. They were called to serve an ERPO, which is the Emergency Relief Protective Order. That is the quote-unquote red flag law that went into effect in October. So our officers came to serve one of those orders. The respondent of that order, or the person they were trying to serve, answered the door armed with a handgun. Officers immediately told him to come with them. A fight ensued over the handgun. That handgun went off. It did not strike anybody. Our officers fired back, and the suspect has died from those injuries.